A boy walking in a street, but it's half of this distance he has taken for some time, t1 time maybe, and his velocity is the v1 velocity. Okay, and rest of this distance, this half of this distance, he has taken some time. Suppose it is a 2t2 time, t double of this t2 time, because for this t2 time his velocity is the v2, another t2 time his velocity is the v3. Now let's see the problems in general physics by I.E. Irodov, and this problem is solved by the animation, so that you can easily understand these problems. Actually यहाँ पे क्या होता है, प्रॉब्लम तो हम लोग पढ़ लेते हैं, लेकिन इस प्रॉब्लम को हम लोग कॉन्सेप्चुअलाइज जब तक नहीं कर पाएंगे तब तक इसका सॉल्यूशन हम लोग नहीं निकाल पाए. So now let's see the problem. First, this a point traversed half the distance with a velocity v1. Okay, the remaining part of the distance was covered with velocity v2 for half the time. Okay, and with velocity v3 for the other half the time. So यहाँ पे actually is the concept is the required. For this half of this distance, his velocity is the v1, but this another half of this distance, he has taken the some time. Okay, this half of this some time, his velocity is the v2. This is the for half the time, and with velocity v3 for the other half the time. So यहाँ पे क्या निकालना है? The find a mean velocity. Okay, simple, of the point averaged over the whole time of motion. वो जो डिस्टेंस कवर कर रहा है उसका मीन वेलोसिटी हम लोगों को निकालना है. सो इस प्रॉब्लम में पहले सॉल्यूशन में जाने के पहले तो थोड़ा कुछ थ्योरी जान लेना जरूरी है. सो दिस इज द दिस वेलोसिटी इक्वल्स टू, everybody knows this v by t, and this displacement equals to v into t. Okay, it's very simple, but its use is थोड़ा सा difficult है. Now let's see the again this animation, but this correlated with the point. So now this boy, you think this is a point, and he has covered some half of this distance in v1 and t1. Okay, this v1 velocity and the t1 time, and this another half of distance he has taken 2t2 time, double of this t2 time. Why? Because the first t2 time his velocity is the v2, and for the second t2 time his velocity is the v3. Now let's see these problems by graphically or by diagram. Now you see here, this is a straight line and this is a total distance he has covered, and this total distance is the s, so that I have written here s by 2. The half distance, another half distance is the s by 2, and this half of distance his velocity is the v1, and he has taken some t1 time. But this another half of this distance he has taken some t2 time, 2t2 time. I have written here 2t2 actually, so that we can simplify the problems. Okay, so this one is the v2 t2, this v2 velocity in t2 time, and another is the v3 velocity for another t2 time. Okay, so this total time he has taken for 2t2 time. Now let's see the solution. So here this s by 2 distance means this velocity into time. Okay, so now we can easily write down here this v1 into t1, and another distance he has covered, this is the v2 into t2, and another distance he has covered is the v3 into t2. Okay, Now we have to solve these problems in terms of V1, V2, V3 because there is a no S2 or no T1 and T2. Actually, I have taken this S for this distance and T1 and T2 for the time. Now we have to find out this average velocity in terms of in velocity. V1, V2 and V3 velocity. Okay. So that we have to eliminate this T1 and S. So I can write down this T1 equals to S by 2 divided by this V1 into T1. Okay. It is very easy to understand. Now next is the S2. Another half of this distance means this V2 plus V3 into T2. Why I have write down here? Like, so this is the V2 into T2 and that is a V3 into T2. So now this is a V2 into T2 plus V3 into T2. Okay. From this equation, we can write down this V2 plus V3 in the bracket into T2. Now we can easily find out this T2 equals to S by 2 divided by V2 plus V3. Okay. Now this mean velocity or this average velocity. So we can easily write down here. I have write here this mean. So this mean means the total distance divided by the total time. This total distance divided by total time. Okay. So this S is the total distance and this T1 plus 2T2 is the total time. Now we can make easily to find out the solution in terms of velocity. So how? This is a V mean equals to S by, so this one, so this S by 2 divided by V1 plus 2 into, this is 2 into T2, 2 into this S by 2 divided by V2 plus V3. Okay. But this equation, we can easily write down this 1 by 2V1 plus this 2 cancelled. So this 1 by V2 plus V3. So means again this V mean equals to 1 by this one V2 plus V3 plus 2V1 divided by 2V1 multiplied by V2 plus V3. So we can easily write down. So this should be upper side. So this 2V1 into V2 plus V3 divided by, I have taken in here this front side. So this 2V1 तो अच्छा देखने में लगेगा V2 plus V3. Okay. So this is our answer. Now I think everyone can understand. If you don't understand, please comment me. I will answer your comment. Thank you.